My Love Mix-Up's fifth episode opens with a school camp day. Conthap and Half assist Adam and Mudme with carrying their baggage as they grow weary from their walk to the campsite. Adam and Mudme secretly hope that this camp will provide them the opportunity to spend alone time with their crushes and perhaps even share their sentiments. They witness an injured man being carried off on a stretcher at that very moment. This is not encouraging. Eventually, Sergeant Yod is introduced to them at the campsite. He says he'll show them how to be tough. They are to complete obstacle courses put up by him, and failure to pass will result in expulsion. There are points for every course. In the first, Adam and Mudme fall into the water while traversing a rope bridge over a river. The other is a tire wall. Adam has no trouble climbing it, but he fails because he is afraid to go down. He gets an F, and so does Mudme. They anticipate being sent home, but the sergeant informs them they are welcome to stay, albeit as losers. It implies that they do not receive the same mouth-watering cuisine as the others. Naturally, Half and Conthap sneak some delicious meals for them. The two losers will always be appreciative. When it's time for bed, though, they receive flimsy tents, and the winners sleep within the structure. Adam is left alone herself in the outdoor tent as Mudme's tent is ruined, and the sergeant permits her to enter. Someone opens Adam's tent as he attempts to fall asleep while trembling in terror. Conthap is here. He informs Adam that they have added extra space to their apartment for him. Appreciative, he falls asleep between Half and Conthap. Half diverts Sergeant Yod's attention as Conthap tucks Adam under a blanket and cuddles him when the sergeant comes to check on them. Adam grins the following morning as he recalls his interaction with Conthap. Mudme informs him afterwards that she discovered this area was once teeming with fireflies. According to a legend, whomever sees the most fireflies together will ultimately fall in love. The next obstacle course will thereafter be available. They had to work in groups of 4 this time, and Mudme, Adam, Conthap, and Half collaborate. Adam and Mudme overcome these challenges because they're determined not to let their crushes down. Adam claims he's evolving into a new Adam who doesn't keep his emotions to himself when Conthap questions what's wrong with them. He consents to inform Conthap about it following the completion of all courses. Regretfully, the sergeant declares that the next is the most brutal course. To everyone's amazement, Adam offers to volunteer when he instructs the kids to send their bravest student. His task is to zip line across a river after climbing a tower. Despite his best efforts, he faints from fright. He returns to the campfire upon awakening. Although noting their team's defeat, Mudme commends him for his bravery. Adam and Mudme are reprimanded by the sergeant for being cowardly and giving up before they even got started. In order for them to finish the course, he gives them one more task. The last challenge, he says, is for the kids to honor the natural gods in spite of the spirits in the forest. As soon as the 2 students reach the woods, a bad spirit, who is actually Adam in disguise, startles them. The sergeant informs him that Adam's true task is to remain here by himself and frighten every last student. Half tries to frighten 2 students elsewhere, but to no avail. But Mudme does a fantastic job of frightening them. But when Conthap arrives, Adam is by himself, fighting his own anxiety. He claims that the sergeant announced that all of the kids were finished and could now put on their uniforms again. Later on, Conthap goes on a walk with Adam. Conthap pulls out incense sticks while Adam laments not being able to test his own bravery. They can still complete the course and honor the nature deity, he says. After lighting their sticks, the 2 of them declare the course to be finished. Conthap asks Adam what he was going to say once all the courses were over as they are making their way back. Adam briefly sidesteps the issue and then brings up Conthap's statement that he was happy the eraser incident was a mistake. Conthap clarifies that all he was happy about was that Adam was no longer in need of concern. Adam acknowledges that at the time, he was upset. At first, the eraser issue was a miscommunication, but Conthap is staring at Adam so intently that he can't finish his sentence. "I started to like you for real," he yells to himself as he retreats deeper. Conthap, on the other hand, had become closer to Adam despite being unable to hear. When Adam opens his eyes, he is shocked to see him so near. When he stumbles back, Conthap reaches out to catch him, and the two fall through the trees. Conthap discovers he has been bitten by a snake when they stand up. Adam tells him to hold off as he dashes to safety. He scales the tower and takes the zip line to Sergeant Yod in order to reach camp more quickly. Conthap recovers later, and the sergeant tells him the snake wasn't toxic. Adam receives a plush toy as a prize from the sergeant for being the bravest after he is praised for conquering his fear. After the sergeant leaves, Adam unintentionally confesses that he did it for Conthap as Half commends Adam for his bravery. After leaving the two boys alone, Half and Mudme take a stroll. Half of him wishes he could have that someone special too. Mudme gets brave enough to tell Half that she has something to say as a result of this. Adam apologizes to Conthap in another place for all the trouble he's brought him. He also gives Conthap the gift he was given. Then he talks about how, without realizing it, he began to like Conthap. After returning the present, Conthap asks Adam if she would like to go out with him. More than a buddy, but not quite a boyfriend, he suggests they go on a date. He now understands that it would be preferable to spend time together and chat rather than relying just on his thoughts to determine whether or not he likes Adam. Adam agrees and is overjoyed. At that moment in My Love Mix-Up. Episode 5, a firefly flies by them, and they spot a swarm of fireflies in the treetops. It's evident from the episode review of Episode 5 that My Love Mix-Up shouldn't be taken too seriously or examined too thoroughly. The whole camp scene consisted of a haphazard assortment of obstacles, some of which were as absurd as having to crawl through a tube as the sergeant tosses plastic reptiles inside. The entire system, including the rules and penalties, feels hazy and disorganized and is unlike any actual school camp. It seems strange that even Sergeant Yod would call Adam and Mudme cowards when, after all, they have been making an effort rather than merely sitting around. Nevertheless, the camp does place our heroes in trying circumstances that force them to grow and adapt. In the end, Adam and Mudme muster the bravery to express their feelings to Half and Conthap. Conthap also realizes that pondering about the circumstance won't enable him to process his emotions. The show's central quartet is quite sweet and has a strong bond. They remain the series' central focus, which eventually makes it easier to overlook technical faults like poor cutting, poorly rendered fireflies, and plausible accidents like a snake biting someone while rolling down a hill.